Today's video is really to support those who hold sponsor license. As everybody will know, if you want to employ a migrant here, a migrant is somebody who's not settled in the UK, or an EU national, or an Irish national, or a British citizen, you will need to have a sponsor license to sponsor this person. The sponsor license regime has been abused over the last few years, and it's quite a significant problem in the community. However, we've seen that a lot of businesses have lost their licenses, and between 39,000 and over 50,000 sponsored workers are now in limbo without employers or sponsors. So this video is to help the businesses who still hold license to make sure that they comply with the very basic duties that they have. I must also say from the outset that having a sponsor license is not a right, it is a privilege. And therefore the Home Office expects you that if you're given that privilege, you look after the license and comply with their laws. The basic requirements are that you have 5 duties, and I've always used my 5 fingers as an example. The first duty, which is significant, is your record-keeping duty. The second duty, which is also significant, is your reporting duty. The other duty is your compliance with the immigration rules. The next one is compliance with the wider UK laws. And then the final one is your conduct, or your conduct is such that it doesn't bring your business or it's not against public policy. The first one, recording duty or record-keeping duty. You have a duty to record all your processes, from the advertisement to recruitment and to the day-in, day-out activities of your employee. So for example, your record-keeping duty starts when you obtain your license. Everything else you do, you must record it. Keep it in a folder. It might be in paper form, and I always advise it must be digital or electronically saved or stored on a database or your computer. 1, if you want to recruit, you obviously advertise. Where did you advertise? Somebody will have to make an application. How did they make the application? Is it a form or by email keeping? Once a person is applied and they meet the requirement, they go through an interview process. Where are your interview records? Why did you prefer one candidate to the other? You must justify it and keep the evidence. The other thing that you must also keep record of is the right to work, RTW. Every person who is employed in the UK, it doesn't matter whether they look like they hold a British citizenship or not, you have a duty to do a right to work check, and it's significant. A lot of the businesses who have lost their license is because they didn't have the evidence that they did a right to work check. It may be that they may have done it, but they don't hold the evidence, and that will breach their responsibility to keep records. Again, what I also want you to show is the evidence of the application process. Did you look at a CV? Did you look at their qualification? Do you have a database of their DBS, which is checking their criminal record either from their country or from this country, or this is record keeping? The Home Office expects you to have a system in place which records this. Holidays and off days. Do you have a rota? Is a rota digital or electronic or paper? Make sure that your monitoring duty also includes having an electronic process in place to monitor all these people who are working for you. If you don't have any of this, it will be a breach, and within the regulation and the guidance, it will lead to revocation of your license. Reporting. You have a reporting duty. Even if you make an application for someone and is delayed past their start date, you have to report it. The other reporting activities are people who absent themselves from your work for 10 days or more without permission. You have to report it. Anyone who absents themselves with or without permission from your work for 28 days or more, you have to report it. There are exemptions to those people who absent themselves for more than 28 days. It will be for purposes of paternity leave, maternity leave, parental leave, statutory maternity leave, sick leave, working as a juror and a jury service at the court, or industrial action, taking part in industrial action. All these absences are exempt absences. You still have to report it. but it allows a person to be absent even without pay. The other part is if somebody is absent without pay, you have to report it. And when you report on the SMS. The other significant thing is that if the person is not doing the hours that you have stated on the COS, you have to report it. The other duty that I want you to be aware of is complying with the UK immigration rules. I've mentioned the right to work check, that's one of it. But also significantly, you must make sure that when you're issuing your COS, you're doing all the necessary things to show that you're complying with the UK laws. The other one is a wider UK law, which includes employment law. Are you giving them holidays? Are you giving them leave? Is their leave recorded? Do you have it on your calendar? When you show your weekly rota or monthly rota, do you have leave there? Do they have annual leave? Do they have a pension? Have they opted out of pension? These are all things that you must keep. These are some of the reasons why businesses are losing their sponsorship license. Not because they are criminals or they've done something seriously wrong. It's because some of these basic necessities which will lead to them keeping their license, they are not complying with. The other one I want to raise is the issue of integrity. So for example, now the Home Office says you cannot charge for COS, even if you've incurred cost on it. Now, if you're charging, then again, that becomes a problem because you're not complying with the law, your integrity is in question, and again, you're doing things which they said you shouldn't do. What I have found is that these are very basic duties that everyone can keep. What advice do I give you? 1, have a system in place which will record all this. 2, have a system in place that will help you to report all this. 3, if you don't have a lawyer, please find a lawyer. The law is broad, deep, and complex. For example, do you know that if you sponsor someone to come to the UK and they don't arrive at the time that you put in your COS, do you know that you have to report it? That is why I always advise you that you either employ somebody in your office whose specific role is to read the law and advise you, or have a retainer with a lawyer who will keep you updated regularly so that you don't breach the law. If you don't, then clearly you're going to lose your license. But above all, I also advise you that find a lawyer who will do a test compliance audit on your file and your system to make sure that you are complying with the law. If you do that, then there's nothing to worry about. Even if they come for unannounced visit, you will still meet the requirements. I hope this helps someone. And please, if you need advice or you need compliance audit by us, let us know and we'll be glad to help you. Thank you.